It's American Top 40, and I'm Shadoe Stevens. At number 30 this week is the current hit by singer Luther Vandross. Luther says the happiest moment of his life was when he was signed to CBS Records 8 years ago. He says, quote, "Up until that time, it had been a long struggle with many disappointments. The more I was turned down, the stronger I felt inside that I could be a solo performer. So it was a happy period in my life when my belief in myself met reality." Luther's fifth Top 40 pop hit climbs 5 notches this week to number 30. Here's She Won't Talk to Me. I'm Shadoe Stevens, American Top 40, and now we're up to the man whose singing voice was heard by millions before he ever hit the Top 40. We heard him on TV and radio singing commercial jingles, and he told us all about it in an exclusive AT40 interview, and he reminded us of how some of those jingles went, like this one for a famous soft drink.
You're the Pepsi generation with the beat of a brand new day. And with every single life that's new, well, that Pepsi spirit shines right through.
You recognize that commercial? How about the voice? Well, it's the 38-year-old singer-star from New York, Luther Vandross. In the 1970s, he sang for all kinds of products, and with a little coaxing, he gave us a few more samples. Luther also sang a telephone tune.
Reach out and touch someone. Call up and just say hi.
And he made gum more fun.
There's nothing like a roller coaster ride. There's nothing like a view from a mile in the sky. And there's nothing like the flavor of juicy fruit gum.
Those are a few samples of commercial jingle singing from Luther Vandross. He told us it's a pretty lucrative business and a singer can make some good money. But he'd rather sing his own records.
Hello, I'm Luther Vandross, and you're listening to American Top 40. Shadoe, where's my song on this week's Billboard chart?
It's right here, Luther, climbing another notch to number 6. Here and Now.
Hi, this is Luther Vandross, and there's more hits on the way as Shadoe counts them down on American Top 40.
You're tuned to the eerie grin of the Shadoe. He's a giant soul star, and he told us he owes his solo career to a soul star of the 1970s. One of her biggest hits was this one.
Killing Me Softly.
Killing Me Softly with his song was a #1 song in 1973 for Roberta Flack. And Roberta helped Luther Vandross score his first recording contract. Luther told us the story.
I made a demo to take to the record companies, and the first one, all the record companies passed. They said, "We like your voice, we don't like the song." So I said, "Okay, fine, that's fine. I'll make another one, no big deal." Then I made Never Too Much and brought that around. Well, first I let Roberta hear it, because at the time I was on the road with Roberta Flack singing background. And, she was just so encouraging, and she just, she, Never Too Much, she just screamed, and she said, "You've got to record that." So she says, "Listen, you're too comfortable sitting back there in that stool." She says, "You're really doing yourself a disservice. So I'm releasing you." She says, "I want you to go pursue your own career." She says, "You have to. You can't sit back there like that, And I really appreciated the fact that she did it, because that one gesture made the decision for me.
Well, a decade later, Luther's had 30 R&B hits and 7 top 40 pop hits. His current one's in the top 10 at number 7 on AT40, Power of Love, Love Power.
Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to the latest hit for a star who needs lots of extra closet space for 10 complete wardrobes because his weight keeps changing so much. Singer, songwriter, and arranger and producer Luther Vandross makes no bones about the single biggest problem he's had in his life. He says he's fought a lifelong battle against the bulge. Luther's a big man, about 6'2", and he's a big man in terms of weight as well. He's tipped the scales at as much as 310 pounds in his life, but Luther also goes on periodic diets. And not so long ago, his weight was down at a low 190. The singer's problem is, as with many heavy people, he doesn't have much luck keeping his weight down. He's a guy with a big appetite, and life on the road doesn't make things any easier. Though Luther can lose a couple of pounds during a performance, he always puts it back on, eating backstage afterwards. He's a human yo-yo when it comes to his weight. He says he's lost and gained 120 pounds at least 8 times. What that's led to is a need to maintain a different wardrobe for his many different weights. Luther says he has at least 10 full sets of clothing. He's got so much clothing, he's had to hire a wardrobe assistant, and he even rents storage space in a warehouse to keep all his clothes. Luther says he's always happiest when he calls his wardrobe assistant and tells her to start taking a smaller waist size out of storage, and he's never happy when he has to tell her to start doing it in the opposite direction. This week, Luther's latest full-size hit is survey song number 12 on Casey's Top 40 from the CD Power of Love. This is Don't Wanna Be a Fool.
We go from Dream Street to Rush Street, and the song from that album by Richard Marx that features backup from a singer's singer, Luther Vandross. Any artist would give an octave or two to have Luther sing on their record, and Richard, of course, is no exception. Luther joins him for the hit at number 13 called Keep Coming Back, and Richard Marx told us just how that all happened.
Luther and I have been friends for a couple of years, and we were out to dinner one night, and he offered to sing on my record. He said, if you need any background vocals on your record, let me know. And I was like, what are you going to... The best analogy I could say is if Julia Child offered to cook you dinner, I mean, you don't say no to that. So Luther came in and sang on it, and it just made it so much more magical.
Music. Well, we've heard of free agents in sports, but now Luther Vandross wants to be the first free agent in music. In an attempt to end his 11-year association with Sony Music, he's invoked a 50-year-old California law originally designed to free actors from long-term movie studio deals. Under the statute, entertainers cannot be tied to any one company for more than 7 years. If Luther pulls this off, it could make things real interesting in the music business.
Casey's biggest hits.
1 year ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was Power of Love, Love Power, by a soulful singer whose first job was on Sesame Street, making music to go with letters and numbers. It was way back in 1973 that this multi-talented musician put together his first group. It was called Listen, My Brother, and he describes it more as a musical theater workshop than a conventional group. For a while, they worked as an opening act at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. And that led to a job on Sesame Street, where they made music to help youngsters learn, music that made letters and numbers fun. It didn't pay very well, but it did give the band leader a start, launching a career that led to one of the biggest hits in the USA a year ago this week. Here's Power of Love, Love Power by Luther Vandross.
Casey's Top 40.
Hi, this is Casey Kasem. You know, super singer Luther Vandross has said the only thing missing in his life is a #1 song on the pop chart. Well, he soon may have it. This week, Endless Love, his powerful duet with Mariah Carey, entered the survey all the way up at number 18, making it one of the highest debuts of the 90s. Now, will it give Luther his first #1 pop hit? We'll find out as we count down all the biggest hits in the USA on Casey's Top 40.
Casey's Top 40.
Well, now we're up to the current hit for Luther Vandross, a singing star who has a very special way of spending his Sunday afternoons. Luther Vandross is a musician who definitely enjoys his creature comforts. He grew up in the projects in the Bronx, so he knows about living on the edge, and that's not how he wants to live his life now that he's made it. Now that he's a rich star, Luther likes to live large. His home is a 12,000 square foot mansion in Beverly Hills, built on a lush knoll overlooking the lights of Los Angeles. Luther has a large kitchen and a room filled with all sorts of video games. But his favorite room in the house is one that he had specially built to his very demanding specifications. It's a huge bathroom that's as big as the average apartment. In that room, there's a built-in big-screen TV and stereo system and a giant sunken tub. Right by the side of the tub, there's a telephone so Luther can call his friends. And right next to that, there are waterproof high-tech stereo headphones so the singing star can shut out the world with music. Luther likes that room so much that he spends his Sunday afternoons there, relaxing in a nice hot bubble bath and watching one of his favorite TV shows, WrestleMania. Now, here's another thing Luther loves to do. Sing big hits, like the one that's survey song number 9 this week on Casey's Top 40. It's his duet with Mariah Carey, Endless Love.
My love.